Anthony Hartwig here with a very special guest on our edition of what we're calling Living the Dream that we're putting on Running Point every day for the rest of the summer. And we're joined by Mallorie Black, Georgia Tech alum now, and just finished her senior season and had a great career at Georgia Tech and lived the dream of a D1 Power 5 athlete for her whole career as a Yellow Jacket. Mallorie, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I'm honored.
You got it. And one of the things we want to do first, we want to make you reflect a little bit. We're going to dig deep in the memory bank a little bit. Go back to the start of your softball journey. What are some of your first kind of memories with the sport of softball, picking it up and learning the game?
Yeah, so I had an older sister who was 4 years older than me, and she played first. So I think I saw her and dad playing in the yard all the time, and I was like, this looks so fun. I would love to do this as well and join. So that's how it all got started, and I fell in love with it immediately.
When did you kind of make the transition of softball is fun, this is something I like to do, to softball is something I want to pursue and work really hard at and get to where you got?
Yeah, so I think that transition came when I was around 13, 14, and starting to play in showcases. So I left my Georgia Force softball team and joined the East Cobb Bullets organization. And that really helped me get exposure and find coaches who are going to help me get to the next level. So.
When you make that decision to go from a local travel team to the one that's going to all these showcases and you know you're going to get on the big coach's radar, what I mean from a kid, what's that like? We have a couple of students up here in the our region that are doing the same thing. What's it like to kind of go from, your little tiny pond in the local travel world to all of a sudden you're playing in the biggest travel organizations and the biggest, events and showcases in the country?
Yeah, I think it's a just something you have to get used to at first. It can be a little intimidating at first. Something I always did when I would go to showcases and there would be coaches there, I would just pretend that everyone was there to watch me, and it was really just my time to put on the best show I could and trust in my training and just have a lot of fun and think every coach is here to watch me, so I'm ready to show out. And that's the
When
attitude you kind of have to have.
when you reflect on your high school years and playing in high school and being able to be a high school athlete, and what kind of things were special to you about being able to go from, the travel and all the pressure that comes with the travel ball to, high school and just having fun with your classmates and representing your community in your school?
Yeah, it was so fun. I loved high school ball. I loved being able to play in front of a home crowd where it was definitely different than travel, where everyone knows you a little bit more on a personal level who's coming to watch and that you're playing with, which I loved, and kind of just getting to let loose with girls I've been playing with my whole life and representing my high school because I loved my high school. So I love that aspect of it. It was like a little glimpse into what college ball could be like, I felt like.
When you talk about your recruiting process as a high school student, I mean, what we always ask our athletes here how they balance trying to be a student athlete in high school, trying to have a high school social life, and also the stress that comes with trying to be recruited. What was it like for you? What was your kind of recruiting process like, and what was your story?
It was a little different, I think, then than now, where I was going on visits when I was 14,
Mhm.
not 17. So I was just a freshman in high school. I didn't even know, like, I knew kind of I wanted to play in college, but I hadn't made that total decision. And I think it just was kind of an alignment in the stars whenever Coach Morales got hired to Georgia Tech. And I had went on a visit to Tech prior to Coach coming, but I didn't feel it yet. And then when Coach Morales came and had me on another visit, I always grew up a Tech fan, so I could always see myself going there kind of. But I think I had that feeling of, okay, this is now where I really want to be. And so I think everyone just has to experience that on their own. And when you know, you'll know. So, yeah.
Some people fall in love with the campus. Some people meet the coaching staff and they instantly know this is who I want to play for. Some people, fall in love with the team they meet on those visits. What was it for you? You said Coach Malice got hired, and then it started to click that Tech wanted to be where you wanted to be.
Mhm.
So what was it about Coach Morales that kind of tipped those scales and made you decide that Tech wanted to be your home?
Yeah, I definitely felt a vibe from coach that she was going to be a tough coach, but she was going to be a caring individual for me because Georgia Tech is like a hard school. You're going to have a lot of hardships with classes and scheduling and all of those sorts of things. But I also love Tech because it was close to home. I was only going to be 45 minutes from my hometown. So that was important to me as well. But I just got this feeling when coach got hired that it was for a reason and that I don't know, I could see myself playing for her immediately.
When did you make your commitment to Georgia Tech? What year of high school?
It was the summer after my freshman year going into my sophomore year.
So what was the rest of your high school journey like when you went from not knowing where you were going to go to now you have that stamp of college softball player on your resume, and everyone that you play in high school kind of knows, hey, this girl's going to Georgia Tech. It's a big deal. You're going to a Power 5 school. What was that like for you the rest of your high school journey with that on your back?
Yeah, I felt a lot of pride being able to say I was going to Tech, not just because of softball, obviously, but because I was excited to go to school there. It's really awesome. But I think when everyone commits, there's kind of a sense of relief. Like, okay, I've made that next commitment, that next step. Now I can kind of relax. So once you get there, there's a lot of growth that happens. You start thinking about, well, how am I going to prepare to go to the next level? So while it's a relief in a sense, it's almost like, okay, now the real grind begins. Because when I get to campus, I want to start, or I want to, make my teammates better. I want to make an impact on the program. So that's an interesting transition from being recruited to now committing and, trying to build off that.
Up here, when an athlete makes a decision to go to a big school like a Tech, or we have Penn State right now, these big Division 1 Power 5 schools, all of a sudden all the lights in the area turn on, and it's like everyone wants to talk about that athlete. Don't know if it was exactly the same in your community, but if it was, what was that like to all of a sudden be a player that a lot of people were talking about? You get, interviews, you get the news articles because hey, this person in our little community picked up and went to a big Power 5 school. I think that's a big deal.
Yeah, that's really exciting. I think I loved, maybe getting that recognition because you have worked hard to commit to the school you're going to. So it feels good to, be recognized for that. But it's also, once you get to campus, everyone was in your shoes. They also were committed. They also were
Mhm.
hometown heroes. So, it's you got to keep a level head and make sure that you're just sticking to your grind and your process and, just enjoy it, but don't let it get too big.
I like that hometown hero phrase that you just pulled. Being a hometown hero, though, while you're in it, did that ever put extra pressure on you to go out and almost quote unquote prove that you deserve that commitment to the people that were maybe outside your community, but you played and you heard them talk? And did they ever, give you the sense like, okay, I got to go prove that I belong at a Tech, or did you just not let that even sink into your head?
Yeah, sometimes it would. And then you would get on the big stages of your high school ball career and sorry. And being from Georgia, something I always thought was kind of fun or funny is that I was committed to Tech, but a lot of the girls in high school ball that I was playing against were maybe going to UGA. So it's like,
Mm,
okay, I need to prove that this is where you want to be.
right.
So that was fun. I think as long as you just embrace that and you already know what you're capable of, you already have that confidence. You don't have to prove anything, but you can enjoy kind of letting them know that you're good. So I like that.
I want to know about the sacrifices. Not enough people understand what it takes to get to where you got. They just see you on TV. They see you playing for Georgia Tech, hitting a home run. And they think, "Wow, geez, that's good." But like the sacrifices that you had to make, especially at the high school level and that age, to get yourself to that point. Talk about some of the things that you kind of just sacrificed, or some of the work that you put in to get yourself to that point.
Yeah, I think it gets a little frustrating sometimes at points whenever you see your friends enjoying the weekend activities they should be enjoying or stuff like that, or when after school people are going to hang out and you have to go practice or put in your work. But I think if you think about it less as a sacrifice and more as gratitude for getting to show up and doing something you really enjoy and knowing that you're putting in work for yourself that in the long run could get you on TV or could get you making an impact in your program and things like that. If you try and shift your mindset a little bit, that may help. But I totally understand, all my friends in high school are going to the lake on the weekends, and I had to go to my 10 a.m. Saturdays club practice that was going to last 4 hours and all of that kind of thing. But also just knowing how lucky you are to be getting to do it. And that definitely will help.
Some athletes are built for that extra work, and some athletes have to push themselves to get there. What side of the fence were you on, especially back then? Were you excited to go to 4 hour practices? Were you in it because you knew this was your dream, or were you like just pushing yourself to do it because you knew it had to be done?
I think I was a little bit more, I've had to be pushed to do it, honestly, especially because I committed so young that all the 3 years of my high school left were just waiting to get to college. And I'm like, well, I'm having a hard time finding motivation to go do this because I already committed to my school and I already know my next steps. So finding that motivation to be where you want to be when you get to school was like a big deal for me. But yeah, I was definitely someone that had to be pushed to go to the 4 hour practice. I'm like, oh, I see all my friends hanging out. I want to go over there. But it's worth it. It's worth it.
What was that motivation you found? When you found it, what was it? What was the thing driving you?
I think it was my conversations, like maybe with coach before I got there, conversations with Jen Soleo, who was also my grade and from a local high school as well. I saw her putting in the work, and I was like, well, if Jen's going to put in the work, I'm going to put in the work, and we're going to go in and make an impact. So kind of having, relationships built prior to going to school and then knowing kind of what the goal was when I got there.
When you think about signing day and actually putting on paper that you are going to play in college, you are going to be a college softball player, what was that moment like when it turns from commitment, it's there, but it's not reality yet, to signing on the dotted line like you are going to be, playing at Georgia Tech?
Yeah, that is such a special day. It's a special experience. You get to do it, with all your family and friends, and definitely just focus on how exciting it is and what a good time it is. Yeah, and I think it's just like a relief. Like you put in all that work, now you get to sign the dotted line and know where you're headed. So,
what was your welcome to D1 softball moment like? Culture shock, maybe you didn't expect it was going to be like this. What was that moment for you?
I think the amount of hours at the field every day was maybe a shock. I'm like, dang, we're going to be here for 4 hour practice and then an hour of recovery and all that stuff. So I think I also came in freshman year during COVID. So it was, you were seeing the inside of the dorm and the inside of the practice facility, like no classrooms, no anything other than that. So that was kind of difficult for me because I always kind of had the social life also and then the softball balance. So that was a big shock for me, trying to find ways to balance, the pressure and the stakes of college softball along with that rigorous schedule. But there was a pandemic, so that was a shock.
When did it when did it click into place for you? Like, when did it become comfortable to be a Division I softball athlete, do you think, for you?
Oh, I don't know, maybe never. But, I don't know when it really clicked. I would say I just got more comfortable as time went on with maybe my role on the team and, where I was. I think my freshman year was really tough and I never really felt like, I honestly felt like maybe this isn't for me afterwards. And then I played in the summer league in Sarasota after my freshman year. And I was like, you know what? You love it. Like, you just came down here, had a great summer. You love it. Like, go back, try again. And then my sophomore year was the year we made regionals and had an amazing year. And so I'm so glad, like, even through the tough drought, I thought my freshman year, that I stuck with it and just,
when
Yeah.
you're going through those tough times and you're thinking in your mind, maybe this isn't for me, I'm sure there were a lot of tough conversations that you either had with yourself, your support system, your family, your coaches. What were some of the things that were said to you that kind of kept you on track or kept you, in it and didn't make you just say this isn't for me and put down the softball bat?
Yeah, definitely people around me just reminding me comparison is just a thief of joy. Like where you are now is where you're supposed to be, and it may not be the numbers you want, it may not be performance you thought you were going to have, but later on down the road, you're going to look back and say, like, okay, I was meant to be in that position. I needed to go through those hardships, and it'll pay off in the long run. And just trusting that, one bad game, one bad, maybe even for me, one tough season isn't going to make or break your career, and just riding it out.
It felt like sophomore and junior season you were building to something, and then senior season it just popped off. We know the numbers you put up. You were one of the top home run hitters in the whole country, one of the top home run hitters in the ACC. You put up all these, everything kind of clicked, and it's not like it wasn't happening sophomore and junior year, but it just like it exploded to senior year.
Mhm.
What was that like for you going through that and seeing the results pay off?
Yeah, I felt very grateful because not everyone gets the opportunities that I had. And luckily enough, coach saw that potential in me. So I felt very grateful that I was still in the position to get to pop off or whatever. And then I also just felt really grateful that I had two great hitting coaches, Coach Hunter and Coach Kelsey, that believed in me and helped me find that inner confidence and just worked with me endlessly to get it where it needed to be. So, yeah, like I said, those hardships and when I thought I was doing horrible, it was all building to something, and just seeing it through was the biggest thing.
We know that you aren't defined by your results. You're not defined by your numbers as a player. And I'm sure getting to your senior year in college, you have to be able to believe that because you don't go through a college season depending on results to give you your self value, and then you make it to your senior season. In my opinion, I feel like you would wash out if you were of that mindset before your senior season even got there. So that being said, when you got the results, was it more like this gravy on the cake because you weren't looking for the results to place value on yourself as a player and as a person, or did it just really improve your mental health and mentality that you were getting results?
I think it does because it does help you when you are getting results, when you're seeing progress. And I don't know if I would have realized how much it would do that without going through the negatives and no results and things I had went through to see that when things are working out in your favor and you are hitting a home run and all this stuff, how much it will help you. But it took a lot of building self confidence, knowing what I knew, not getting results, to understand that. And yeah, it's just obviously you're going to be a lot happier when you're getting the home run, when you're getting the results, but it's not something to focus on. Something to focus on can be your teammates' results and being happy for them. Like when I would go 0 for 3 this season, something that would lift me up is like seeing a pinch hitter come in and be successful. And then I'm not thinking about me being 0 for 3 in my fourth at bat. I can think about the other things that other people are doing to be happy. So there's definitely a balance of wanting to do well, but not letting it define you, not letting it bring you down completely.
So you end your senior season, and don't want to bring up scars, but we didn't get into the postseason like we wanted to. That's just the
Mhm.
reality. How did you kind of come to terms with that, with all the results and all the good things that happened, but still, I know how bad you wanted to go out in your senior season with a postseason berth. It didn't happen, and you have to just kind of cope with that. What kind of things did you do to kind of try to accept it, and then try to still say, I did all I could for Tech for 4 years?
I think I still talk to a lot of my teammates every day. So it doesn't feel like a hard cutoff end
Mhm.
all be all. Like I still have a lot of amazing things coming from my time. And then I always can look back and just remember and relish in those memories. So it was a very, sad ending because I felt the team had so much potential to get there. Just a few things didn't go our way, but you know, that is a really hard thing to deal with. But it's failure and it's part of the sport. And there are things to be happy about and there are things to be sad about. But in the end, like the relationships I made and the memories I had made it so much easier to leave, knowing that I made my good mark.
When you think about the mark that you did leave on Georgia Tech, if we asked maybe a player next 2 years what it was like to be Mallory's teammate and the impact that you left on them, what do you kind of hope their answer would be? What do you think you left on the people that are still there and are going to be working towards great things in the next couple of years?
I would hope that they thought I was still supportive of them even on my hard days. I think that's what really sets apart a good teammate is if you're not having a good day and you're failing, how can you pick up others and how can you still be there? That's, what makes a team amazing. I hope they would think that their time around me was something positive and no negativity. So I think overall, the program, I was lucky enough to leave with seniors who were on that same page. We love softball, but we love our teammates more. So that was more of a priority for us. And I hope that the program is just left brighter because of that.
What's next? We know that you love softball so much that it's not going to go away from your life, and you're going to find ways to impact the game without your playing career. So, what is next? What's on the horizon for Mallory Black?
I don't think I can fully answer that. I hope to stay involved in the game. I do love it. I would love to help grow the game in any way possible. I just moved to Durham, so I'm in the Triangle area. So hopefully I can maybe help a team here that needs me. So I don't know. We'll see.
I like it. You have to let us know when that happens. When you can
Cliffhanger.
cliffhanger. One of the things that I want to kind of go full circle on and do before the end of this interview. What are some things that you miss the most about the early days of your high school career and playing in a simpler time, I guess you could say? What are some things that you miss the most about it?
Oh, I miss so much about that. Just, I miss how fun it was to represent a community and how nice it was that knowing that my teachers knew I was a player, my classmates cheered us all on. I just miss that camaraderie and that hometown feeling. So, yeah.
And then for our athletes that are about to go on a campus or maybe in a couple of years go on a campus, what is one thing that maybe you wish you knew when you were stepping on campus that you know now that you could share kind of words of wisdom as they're about to start their college softball career?
I would say it's a marathon, not a sprint. So trust in the process, get to know everyone you can around you in your program, but just remember that you're not defined by your freshman year outcomes, your sophomore year, or your junior year. It can all turn around. Just trust the process and keep working hard.
One of the things we do with our interviews, whether it be with high school, little league, you in college, we want to give the athlete the chance to take the spotlight off themselves for a minute and thank all the people that got them to where they are and the shout outs that we know people in their life deserve. So I want to give you the time to kind of list the people that you want to thank and the people that you want to shout out that they got you to where you are now.
Oh, wow. There are so many. Obviously, my coaches from my East Cobb Bullets organization, thank you so much. My high school coaches, you made it so fun. Thank you. And then Coach Morales, amazing coach, wonderful. And Coach Hunter, Coach Kelsey, Coach Aaron, Coach Devin, all my Georgia Tech people, I love you so much. And obviously, my family, I have so many amazing memories at the ball field with all of them. I'm going to miss it so much, but I'm so thankful for opportunities you gave me and just everyone who supported us. Yeah, especially you, Anthony. Thank you.
You got it, Mallory. You know that anything you need from me, you got it. Thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it. Good luck in whatever you're doing in the future. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And we'll see you again real soon.
All right. Thank you so much.